Well, I know you can't imagine riding on alone, carrying on this ranch on your own. Now the winds of change are blowing, winter's setting in, and you look like you have lost your best friend. Feeling like the good times are all gone. Wonder if it's time for moving on. Like the spirit rider's coming on a white horse through the sky. Give your horse his head and run him, brother, don't.
Hey guys, this is Rich Bischoff with Utah Music Producers. I am here today at Spiral Studios with Ryan Tilby. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, this is awesome to be here. So Spiral is here in beautiful St. George. I almost wore my Hawaiian shirt.
You should have, yeah.
We should have just wore shorts today.
Yeah,
this,
we're still in the 8 months of the year that are great.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's like 70 degrees today.
That's perfect.
Yes, it is. So, Ryan, I was going to read his bio off my phone, but I'm not going to do that. He's a multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
And why don't you just talk about how you started? I've seen little pictures of you on Facebook when you were this high, stuff like that. Why don't you just talk about everything?
Yeah, my mom wanted me to play an instrument like every good mother does. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to play banjo, and they, for some weird reason, got behind it, and they supported me, and they got me a banjo and got me lessons, and
you loved it, huh?
I grew up kind of about where you grew up, and there were shoops everywhere, and so by the time I was 13, I was in a band driving around the country in a Volkswagen bus.
So you knew Ryan Shoup long before you ever.
I knew Ryan when Ryan had hair.
Wow.
Yeah, I've known Ryan and his brother and sisters since I was a kid.
South Weber area?
Yeah, South Weber.
Okay, cool. So talk about how you came to be a engineer, all these instruments that you played. When did you decide, I know you played banjo and your parents got behind that, but when did you decide, I could play these other instruments?
In bluegrass land, it's not weird for somebody to just play 5 different things well. So we all just, the whole group of us growing up just grew up playing everything. Cool. The last thing I came to was guitar, and that was in high school when I realized chicks don't dig banjo players. So I picked up guitar in high school and then went to Utah State.
Yes.
To make a further study of guitar.
Wait, what year did you graduate?
High school? College.
Did you?
What?
Yeah, no, college.
Oh,
I'm just wondering if I was up there at the same time you were there.
Probably. I had a
2000
mission in the middle of that, so a little bit before 2000 and a little bit after.
Okay, so I was up there around the same time you were up there. So did you take lessons from the Christiansen clan up there?
Yeah, Corey wasn't there, but Mike
was there.
Mike was there and did his darndest. He tried.
I did that too in high school, though. I didn't do it in college.
And I thought, I can't make money in bluegrass. Maybe I'll make money in jazz.
Yeah. Wow, you're thinking there. I don't know about your thinking there.
Yeah.
I like it though. Well, cool. So anyway.
So then I kind of hit the music scene as a multi-instrumentalist, which mostly meant growing up on the Wasatch Front, studio work. Right. So as a hired gun, I would get a lot of calls to record and a lot of calls to do stage stuff with different bands. I've just been a side guy and a studio musician since it's been my only job forever.
That's cool.
And eventually spent so much time on that side of the glass that I started to get a fascination with what was happening in here, because you'd go to one studio and your banjo would sound different and the next, and it would sound even worse, and it can't be my fault. So I met Steve Lemon, who owns Spiral Studios and has since '92 when it was in Salt Lake.
Right.
And he was kind enough to let me do what I don't let people do anymore, which is just stand over my shoulder and ask stupid questions until you get stuff figured out.
Wow.
And that's kind of how I transitioned into that.
Now you were living in Utah County in Saratoga Springs.
I left out about I left out about 10 years of the story, which was before the studio thing turned into something serious. I picked up with a band and went out on the road, and for about 9 years was with a group that, we weren't gone all the time, but busy enough to call it a job. And I had a little boy. Now I have 3 kids, and as they grew up, being gone every weekend kind of turned into a bad idea. And so that's where the real shift happened. Is studio work turned into the like 9 to 5 that I never thought I wanted. But now suddenly like a 9 to 5 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm still gone a lot more than I should be.
But when you're a musician, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And Ryan, I think, has played on like every CD in Utah.
All of them, every single CD in Utah.
Yep.
I wish.
Almost, right? No, he's humble, but he plays on a lot of stuff. He's done. I can name a whole bunch of people, but I won't. The stuff you've played on, including my stuff.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. So anyway, let's talk about this awesome studio that you work out of.
Okay.
And I want to talk a lot about your gear as far as instruments too. So
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
that's
you just bought. You just posted some stuff about some Martins that you just purchased a little while ago.
Yes.
So we'll get to those.
Okay.
Were they out there? I didn't.
One of them is.
Okay.
The other one's under my bed, and I don't know what to do with it.
Let's talk about what you guys use here at Spiral. I don't see any kind of vintage console behind us or anything like that, but you're doing. Are you guys Pro Tools? Are you all in the box, or what's going on here?
We right now we are a Pro Tools HD studio. Okay. We've been Pro Tools since it came out, but back in the day, when I started here, big analog console, 32 channel console, MCI 2-inch tape machine in the closet.
Yeah.
It just became more work and expense than was worthwhile. So about 7 years ago, all the analog went away, and we're a Pro Tools studio now, not entirely in the box, but as far as console goes, we are.
So as far as do you ever, when you mix, are you sending stuff out, busting stuff out through the other gear and stuff like that?
There are a handful of things that I think are worth doing that for. Okay. But one of my big moral dilemmas lately is I keep A/Bing software plugins with the real stuff that I own, and if there is a difference, it's small.
Really?
And I'm getting to where, like,
in the boxes where
I can't see my way to like $2,000 for 2 channels of something when $300 gets you close. Yeah. And again, that's one of those practical concessions that I hate to make, but practicality, when my kids want groceries, they don't care if it has a real vacuum tube in it. They want to eat. So that's.
Let's see, bread on the table or a vacuum tube.
And one day we'll all make enough money doing something that. Yeah. We'll have real solid knobs for everything.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. So give me an idea of what you have as far as on the desk here, the stuff you reach for the most. And
okay, yeah.
We'll start on this side over here.
I'll take you through the lunchbox. I've got a 10 space here with 3 API 512s. Everybody has those, right?
I don't have them.
This one actually, the third one actually has a Purple Audio op amp in it because the first one blew up, and it's interesting to see what comes from swapping out one little piece of gear.
So what does that do to it? The op amp.
It just,
in layman's terms, Ryan, come on.
Just made it different.
Okay, cool.
It just made it different.
All right.
I've got these 2 Neve 511s. Hairball Lola. Have you been down the like DIY disaster area?
I looked at your DIY RE stuff.
Yeah.
And that looks really fun to me. Was it fun?
The things that worked were great fun. I built this preamp and it worked right out of the box, and I like it a lot. It actually has a really cool sheen to it. It's like a better top end than some of these other pre's. I built this FET 500 compressor, and it didn't work when I was done with it, which was frustrating to
How long
know.
did it take you?
To build it?
Yeah.
A really solid weekend.
Oof.
And then it took me another 2 weeks to figure out what I did wrong.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh. The 2 weeks were terrible.
Ouch. Yeah.
But I like it. It's fun to have.
Would you recommend doing the do-it-yourself stuff? Like for someone that's never done it, like me, someone that's never done it before, is it worth my time? Or
if you don't like doing it,
I pull my guitars apart and pick up some solder stuff in.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about audio by building these, and I liked building them. I just hated troubleshooting them. So
right. Cool.
Maybe in the future when I have more time, more money than patience.
Yeah.
Little Devil Chandler compressor, which I also like a lot. Super versatile. I like.
Cool. I've been eyeing that thing. I've been looking at that thing a lot.
I've been looking for a second. It's not like they don't sell them. I'm just looking for a deal on a second.
Yeah.
These are that DIY RE thing you were talking about, the color palettes, which they recently redesigned. So I've got a couple of different things in there that you just kind of mess with your signal path a little bit.
Isn't there, like, I was reading up on it, and isn't, like, you can put the different cards in them that sound like tape or like tubes, or it does some different stuff to the texture of the sound. Yeah, like on the bottom here, I keep using these for I've got it's the circuit from a distressor kind of. That's cool.
So it gives it a really smashed, kind of broken up sound, tonal lock kind of thing.
Cool.
And you can control the drive and out. And then I've talked to you about these Electras before, this Cush Audio stuff.
Yes, I'm saving up for those. You actually used those. You had them in a little, maybe it's the same one sitting in there.
Probably the same box.
You had them sitting up here when I was here once, and I was.
Oh yeah.
Man, it doesn't sound like I'm EQ. It doesn't. It's not distorting. It's making it still clear, but it's EQ.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I'm a big fan of the Cush Audio stuff now.
I'm
currently saving up for a pair of tweakers, which is.
Cool.
Which I don't have money for, but we'll get there.
Cool.
We'll get there. The pair of distressors that everybody has to have, and those are still hard to beat.
Yeah.
And then TL Audio stuff, which kind of you don't see around very much, but they sound. This is a big tube preamp, and these are just great channels.
So is this just all one unit here?
Yeah, two channels.
Gotcha. Oh, 2 channels.
3 spaces because there's a lot going on in there, but.
And then these are
those are just single channel strips.
Now, how much of this stuff did you bring into the studio, and how much was Steve's when you came?
All the 500 series stuff is mine.
Yours, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I think the rest of it is his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool.
We shared a lot. I had some monitors up here until about a month ago. Sold them.
And these guys still use a analog.
That's an analog phone right there. Yeah.
Has buttons and not. Is there anything?
There's really no other way. I mean, you can go touchscreen if you want, but I really like the tactile sensation of.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Thanks.
Cool. Monitors, Ryan. What are you using?
We had a pair of Adams up until last month, and now we're back to some Spenders that we had.
Okay.
And that's another brand that they aren't all the rage right now, but they're really solid monitors.
I've never heard of them.
British, I think.
Okay.
And then we have some.
And what are these? Oh, these are Adams.
Little Adams, yeah.
Adams. Okay. What do you like the most?
The most. The Little Adams are pretty solid for a cheap monitor. At low levels, I get more utility out of those than anything.
Right.
But like I was saying, we just ordered a set of big 3-way Neumann 310s.
Awesome.
That will hopefully put us back in that game of barefoots and ATCs and things that
you can't afford.
Yeah, it's a balance game. It's always get the most bang for the buck. What will clients appreciate? It's funny that most people walk in and they're like, "Wow, you have a big TV,"
and they don't see all the other.
I don't care about the TV. Yeah. Go look at our mic closet. That's
yeah. All right, so this is the big rack here at Spiral. Let's talk about what we got.
We've got these little liquid channels, which are awesome too. I can control them via software, and they'll model preamps and compressors. And
so, are they just all digital, or is there a transformer in them, or how do they work?
It's digitally controlled, like with presets, but it's all analog circuitry in there. So they never really caught on. They had a liquid mix that did a little better.
Yeah.
But I keep presets. Like right now, these are my overheads right now, and it's great because I can get the preamp I want modeled that I want with the compression and the EQ that I want, and save it as a preset.
That's cool.
And it feels great.
Yeah.
A couple of old Amex, which are Neve preamps. Focusrite, everybody has to have one of those too. That thing sounds great.
I've got the And in fact, Ryan was the one that, the first time I ever came down here to Spiral, I asked him, what preamp should I buy? And he's like, oh, just buy a Focusrite. So I bought a 1-channel.
How's it been going? Did I
love that thing, dude. I use it all the time.
I love it too.
It's the thing I always go to, it seems like, for really clean, clear everything.
Yeah. And then a lot of this other stuff, you know, as you get down, it gets less special. We got a Meek channel here, ART stuff for overflow, rack tuner, a de-esser that I think came out of BYU in the 70s. You know, tape deck, Big Ben that we're not using right now.
Nice. And is this your pedal board?
Yeah, that's my pedal board for a lot of the electric stuff we do from the control room. You know, when you're a one-man band.
Well, tell me about the pedal board and kind of how you decided on some of this stuff here.
Okay, well, the pedal board, the lot is on. Pedal board comes from mostly just versatility. Most of the electric work I get to do is like a lot of country stuff. So, so Keeley comp, of course.
Yep.
Junior, but modded to be active, so it's theoretically sounds better. That's actually one mod I didn't hear any difference on. EP booster, which I love.
Yep, those are great.
That thing stays on all the time.
I have one too, and it's on, even live, it's just on all the time.
The Mesa throttle box exists because I don't think I'm ever going to own the amp that sounds like that.
Right.
And occasionally I need that button. This is an overdrive built for me by Ryan Hawthorne in South Weber, Utah.
Cool.
And I had to label it because I keep forgetting what everything did, because it does a lot of stuff. But the thing I had him do for me is put a mix knob on it. So now I have an overdrive with a mix knob, which for country is killer. I can get a chicken picking thing that
like clean with
is really snappy, but not.
Very cool.
I built that tremolo and painted it the same time I painted my son's Pinewood Derby car. So that
is awesome.
That tremolo has a matching Pinewood Derby car.
Is it in here?
No, he keeps it at home.
Okay, all right. What's this thing?
That's a lo-fi $30 pedal.
Just a weird thing?
It's a weird thing.
Just a weird effect.
It's one of those things you turn on like once a year. You're like, oh, I'm so glad I have it. And then every other time you turn it on, you're like, that's the worst idea ever. And then 2 Strymons, which I have not regretted, actually. They are phenomenal.
Yeah, those are awesome.
And sometimes the board's wired for stereo, but most of the time it's not. And yeah.
Cool. All right. So you've got a condenser in here.
Yeah, I being kind of a one-man multi-instrumentalist studio, I always keep a mic or a pair of mics in the control room that I just patch right into the lunchbox or whatever I need. So that's one of my 2 blue bottles. We have a pile of capsules too because we have the big bottle mic out there, and
nice.
so I'm always swapping capsules around and tracking a lot of stuff from the control room because that's what you do.
Yeah. All right, so Ryan's a excellent bass player, and one of his passions is bass. In fact, you were the bass player for Ryan Shoup for how many years?
Almost 9 years.
9 years. Okay, yeah, you just talked about that. So why don't you talk about some of these basses you have?
Yeah, I keep 3 basses here. This is I'll start with what you know. This is Warmoth parts that I put together during an episode of The Simpsons with a Fralin pickup, and I tried a preamp. Terrible idea. We went back to just vintage wiring. I keep flat wounds on it, and it's killer. KSM bridge.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
KSM bridge out of Logan, Utah.
That's cool, huh?
I'm starting to get a weird thing where I like a lot of local. You'll notice my pedal board has local stuff on it. The bass. Why not?
That's awesome.
I was in a session and the guy asked me if I had a fretless, and I said no, but there's a cool one on Craigslist.
Can I touch it?
Oh yeah, play it. So
I don't even know what
So he handed me just a fistful of cash and he said go buy it. And that Yamaha.
I like that it has the lines on it so you can still tell where you're at.
And that is ridiculously great sounding bass for what they cost. I think, speaking as someone who has a really nice Mike Lowell out of Seattle bass, that thing I love, but you know.
So out of the 3 here, what do you go to?
The Lowell. I go to this bass every time.
Yeah, it's got that bass thing, doesn't it?
It feels great. When I called Mike Lowell and said I want to order a bass. I said I played a few of your basses and I love them. And I said, but can you do this? And he said, yeah, I can. I said, and could you change that? And he said, yeah, I can. And then he finally stopped me and he said, you said you liked my basses. And I said, oh yeah, I do. He said, well, then let me build you a bass. And I said, oh yeah. So it was good of him to sort of just say, let me do what I do well. And that bass has been, I think I sold 3 other basses when I got that one. It just knocked him out of rotation. It does everything. It's awesome. Killer.
Cool. Ryan's got this really cool uke bass that you just pull out from behind the console.
If it sounds plugged in, it sounds more like an upright bass than my upright bass. So
seriously,
it's great. It's great. If you
where'd you get it?
I met a guy from Kala, and he said, if you'll buy a ukulele, I'll give you one of these basses. So I did, and it sounds
like
unbelievable.
Rubber bands on there.
Yeah, the hardest thing is the strings are like giant Twizzlers that you have to learn to play.
Yeah.
But the low end on it is phenomenal. And if I didn't feel like such a nerd holding it on stage, I would probably like fly with that bass. It's great.
Why would you feel like a nerd? Just hold it like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fine. Just do that.
As far as sound,
yeah, I
treatment in here. What do you want to tell us? Anything?
I can speak to that. I mean, the studio was built right. I mean, everything double walls, triple sheetrocks, separated, cut the foundations, everything floats.
Cool.
And this, we've treated this room. It's a little deader now. You can see we put foam against some of the bass traps. Built all the bass traps ourselves. You might have noticed
these diffusers here. Did you build these?
Yeah, well, that's a bunch of 2x2s and a can of spray paint, and they totally get the job done. So that's
like just Home Depot and some spray paint.
Yeah.
I might have to go there.
It's
I'm not that serious yet.
It's not super high tech, but it really does. It really does get the job done.
There's a little.
That's my Roy Smeck signature.
Cool.
Nobody knows who. I don't even know who Roy Smeck is, but
do you use that a lot?
Yeah, it's I owned a pedal steel for about 2 weeks, and it was the worst idea I've ever had. Those things are so infuriating to play. But I play some dobro, and I can play this, and with a little studio magic and 2 overdubs, I get some pretty convincing pedal steel stuff out of that old Harmony lap steel.
So Ryan, you wanted to tell me something about the lounge area here.
First, we like to hang CDs of the people we work with, especially the local ones. Ultimately we're our local studio. But second, people are always asking about the bear, and so I'm just going to go on record. I didn't shoot the bear. It's a very small bear, but the idea is that through a scope, a small bear close up looks a lot like a really big bear far away.
Is that a cub?
I didn't shoot it, man.
All right, so Ryan.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of this good deliciousness you have here.
So a lot of what I do is just in the name of versatility and being appropriate to whatever I'm trying to play, which is the lie I tell myself that lets me buy lots of guitars.
Yes. I love that lie.
It's a good lie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, tell your wife that lie?
Now that I can just ship guitars straight to the studio.
Oh my gosh. I need to start a separate studio space.
You need a
I have friends.
Address.
I have friends.
You can ship them here.
Oh.
Yeah.
True.
So we keep a high-strung Nashville guitar, which gets used a lot. That's sort of like a better way to deal with 12-string sounds than an actual 12-string.
You just double track a regular guitar with that. Yeah.
And it's great. An American P bass, that's Steve's. Godin multi-act nylon.
Is that yours?
Yeah, with MIDI stuff on it.
I had a friend with one of those, and didn't know anything about it. And then I saw this artist named Martin Sexton play one. Awesome. I was just like, gosh, I gotta have one of those. I don't have one still, but they're awesome.
I don't use it as much as I thought I would, but that doesn't mean I don't love having it.
Yeah.
So it's great. We've got 3 tellies. Steve's Spiral Special is another home built thing. This G&L ASAT, which is a great guitar. It's Steve's, but I'm trying to find some reason why.
Terrifying.
No,
I just wanna.
Yeah. Pretty soon I'm gonna find some reason to buy it from him. But it's a great telly.
Yeah, you can tell I'm great. Can't do it while I'm standing up.
It's hard, man. You need a strap.
I do.
This is my Tom Anderson telly. That might be the guitar I've owned the longest, believe it or not. I've had that for about 15 years. the second Strat Plus I've ever owned. I sold one and kicked myself and finally found another one. It's the lace sensors with the roller nut and the locking tuners.
Wasn't there one for sale here last time I was here? Was that the one you sold?
I don't know.
You were selling something. Maybe it was a Telly. You're always selling stuff, aren't you?
I'm always selling something.
All right.
This is my Les Paul knockoff.
PRS?
Yeah, which is also pretty great. I like it a lot. I had my eye on this guitar. A friend of mine named Josh Payne played it for a lot of years, and one day after a gig, he just handed it to me and said, "Pay me when you can," and walked off stage. And I just stood there for like 5 minutes, and I think it took me a year to pay him back, and he was good about it.
He was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
Is in relation to Sam thing?
Sam's baby brother.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. I think he's in LA now doing whatever he does. This is a blatant rip-off of Scott Wiley's Red Gretsch. Mm-hmm. I liked his so much I got one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And actually, he sent me the link and said, if you ever wanted to get one, here's one, because they don't pop up very often. So.
Oh, really? So
he knows I'm ripping him off. I think he's cool with it.
Cool.
And then this guitar I actually owned once and sold it to get married, and then
to buy a ring.
Yeah,
for real.
Real.
That's got some sentimental.
And then finally, last fall, found one that I couldn't pass up.
So not the same one.
Not the same one.
The same type.
Same model.
Gotcha.
Yep. Almost the same year even.
Yeah.
And then the Dan Electro baritone that I bought for $50 off of a heroin addict, and I still feel a little bad, but not too bad.
Is he still alive?
I don't know, man. I don't know how far the $50 got him. Yeah. So the acoustic stuff is more what I do. Everybody plays electric guitar. It's hard to be good enough at that to get any work doing that.
Right.
But banjo, dobro, mandolin, bouzouki, that kind of thing, I do well enough. At least there are a few enough of us that I make a lot of my living doing that. So I've got a square neck dobro, a round neck dobro. This guitar is a Coal Creek. It's made in Cedar City by a guy named Steve Fisher.
Wow.
Who builds guitars under the name Steve Fisher, and they're really nice.
You've had this for a while, haven't you?
I've had this for maybe 2 years now.
Yeah, I think you showed it to me last time I was down here.
It's great. I'm really getting into like local guys who just know how to build, and you know.
Do you know Ryan Thorell up in Logan?
Do I? He doesn't know me, but yeah, that's next on my list.
Is it? Yeah, cool.
Someday. This one, Joel Noland out of Hooper, Utah. He builds, and he's a sort of a brilliant guitar designer. He does his own version of a bolt-on neck on the acoustic, which is, cool. Does that sexy little thing. And these guitars are interesting and well built and just stunning and mic'd up. This is my favorite guitar. To play it, you're like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. And then you put a mic right in front of it, and it's just the best sounding thing ever.
Awesome.
This is one of those old Martins I was telling you about.
Now tell me the story behind this, because I asked you on Facebook, but it's kind of hard to go into detail on.
This old boy who's probably 85 walked in to record with his son, and he's a pedal steel player. And back in the day, he was a touring musician. And he said, I've got some instruments to sell you. And I said, sure, man, bring them in. And he walked in with this 1951 D18,
wow,
a 1946 double aught 18, and a 1953 Fender Precision bass.
Were you like...
I was checking my account balances. I was like, okay, how can I do this? Needless to say, I couldn't do the bass. He had been on eBay and thought he knew what the bass was worth.
Yeah.
But I did find a way to get the two Martins.
That's awesome. Wow.
And that
was just sitting here.
It's a cannon.
Just tell.
It's everything I wanted in a D18, and I found it here in town,
that's awesome.
Which is great. Most people, when they hire me to play banjo, now about half the time they don't mean banjo. They just think they mean banjo, so I had to get a banjotar, and it pains me. It pains me to do it.
Because you're more of a Larry Skaggs, or Ricky Skaggs.
Yeah, I grew up in the like three-finger bluegrass style, but everybody else grew up in the like Taylor Swift
I've got one.
Yeah.
I'm that guy, Ryan. Sorry.
You're that guy. Well, that's all right. I lose a lot of banjo work to guitar players, but I get a lot of it back by just playing guitar on that.
Yeah. That's a Deering, so it's probably sounds really nice, huh?
Yeah, Deering. I'm a Deering artist.
Yeah.
Which,
I forgot. It
just means they make me a deal. It's not like
quite special.
I used to be more special than I am now.
That's cool though.
This bouzouki or octave mandolin was made by a guy in Moab. I love that.
Man, that is cool.
He made 3 or 4 instruments and then disappeared. I just cannot find him. But I found this at Local Music in Salt Lake.
Cool.
This guitar was sitting in a back closet at a guitar store here in town. It's a Taylor 615. The bridge was coming off, and I just sent it to Taylor, and they put a new pickguard on and fixed the bridge and sent it back to me. It's a 1983.
So did you just hook a deal up on that then?
Yeah, I think I paid $700 for this guitar.
Nice.
According to one internet website, in 1983, Bob Taylor made like 6 guitars, and this is one of them.
Oh, that's cool.
But for a recording guitar, this thing is just that's like
good.
If you ever need a country strummer, that's the one I go to every time. Do you play piano?
Ryan, this is how much piano I play. You ready for this?
Not yet.
I bet you know what song I'm gonna play. That's not even it. Anyway, yeah.
Nice.
No, anyway, we're at Spiral's grand Yamaha beautiful piano.
Yeah, we have, like a lot of studios, we have a C7. But what's nice about our C7 is that it's the only one for miles when you live in St. George. So we get a lot of piano work here,
right.
Just by virtue of having a great sounding piano that's always, tuned and mic'd up right. So thank you for noticing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You're a great player. That's really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
No, that's good.
And I wish I had room for something like this, but probably the most I could do is like a baby grand or something at my place, and then even then you'd be like, "Hey, I need to get over to the drum kit." And you'd be like,
"Yeah." Piano ended up. It kind of is a hard hurdle to get over for a studio. I mean, you got to paying for it's one thing, and having a place to keep it is another. But we like how it sits. We just keep it against this back wall, and it's always there when we need it.
It's beautiful. And was this place? I was going to ask you, the actual studio itself. What was it before Steve
It was.
Was it a studio?
It was gutted.
It was just gutted.
It was just gutted.
He came in and sheetrocked.
Everything you see here is
he did it
purpose built.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that, and then I forgot. But yeah, I mean, I can tell because of the control rooms, but I was just wondering maybe it was already something that was in here. Okay, cool.
All this.
Let's talk about amps.
Okay.
Baby.
Talk about you and me.
All right, so Ryan has quite an assortment of amps in here. And why don't you just talk to maybe some of your favorites, why you have some of the stuff you have?
Yeah, the Hot Rod Deluxe I have because bands are always coming through town that need to rent an amp. And that's always, it kind of always ends up on the list. So I found a deal on a Hot Rod, bought it. I don't record with it much, but it goes to a lot of gigs for myself or for whoever's coming through.
And they sound great with pedals run right into them.
It's the second one I've owned. Again, I bought one, didn't love it, sold it, and I just thought, why did I sell it? It was a good amp.
Yeah.
They're solid.
Cool.
The basement is a 64 Blackface that I found here in town. Cleaned it up. It sounds great. The cabinet I found on Craigslist. It needs help. So it's got some eminence in it, and through the basement it sounds good. I like it.
You got this on Craigslist or just the cabinet?
The cabinet on Craigslist. This was here at Dan's Guitar Store here in town. Guy had it for a long time and finally worked out a deal.
That's awesome, man.
I like it a lot.
Okay.
The twin I got from the same guy, Dan Worthington, Dan's Guitar Repair. And it's a silver face that I went in and modded to a blackface specs. And right after I finished that, I rented it to Dixie College, and they knocked it backwards off a riser.
Wow.
So
really?
Yeah. Wrecked the cabinet, but the amp was fine. And then they bought a new cabinet for me.
This is all...
So this beautiful cabinet.
I was wondering about that. It didn't look like what came with it.
It's one Dixie bought for me. It's a Mather cab out of Tennessee, and it's the first time I've been able to swap the cabinet out in an amp and see what a difference the cabinet has on the sound.
What did it do?
It's profoundly different.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little more hollow sounding and woody sounding than it was with the original Fender cabinet.
Cool. What's this?
69 Ampeg B15N. Found it out of state. Somebody had refinished it and they did a really clean job of it. Heads all original. Speakers original. They just kind of retolexed it. And I got a good enough deal on it that it kind of offset the shipping.
What speakers are in that thing?
Just 115-inch.
115.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So do you haul this thing around quite a bit?
It doesn't leave the studio much.
Really?
No, I have another amp that I use when I...
Just at home or something?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
TC Electronic bass head and then two cabinets that I mix and match or bring them both if I want.
Right on.
This is Eve amplification. A guy named Brian Patchett out of Provo. I don't think I've ever met him in person, but bought the amp because, like I said, I'm kind of into what's a local thing that
I didn't realize there were so many people that made stuff here in Utah
and good stuff.
And then I went to Scott's studio, had the Mog audio stuff, and that's made by a guy in Provo.
Cliff's right there, a couple blocks away.
And then some of the guitars you were just showing me are made right here.
This amp is great. It's got a big 15-inch in it, so it's a heavy amp, but it rocks, and it doesn't sound like something you could buy anywhere. That's what I like about it. I like plugging it in and just
thumping away,
getting something unique. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
And then this is Steve's 92, 93, the Samson era. This is the old original.
They don't make these anymore.
Not like this, they don't. No. This amp puts everything else to shame. It's unbelievable. Except last month I had a kid come in and set up his little Chinese modeling amp, like right here, and he put it on the matchless setting, and he's like, there, put a mic on that, you're going to love it. And I was like,
there's one right here.
I have like the amp that
the real one.
But he's like, no, use mine. I said,
how did it sound? Just like it?
just so close.
What's this?
This is the Boogie, the Mesa Boogie Studio 22, which is like 1984. EL84's in it, the worst reverb you've ever heard, but my favorite amp right now. I love it. It works great for everything. Super versatile. The Boogie and the Eve kind of do the same thing where like you don't really have treble, bass, and middle. You almost take two hands to EQ it because they're so interactive with each other.
Right.
And smarter people could explain why that is.
Yeah.
but it's a killer amp.
Cool.
This amp makes me feel like every Fender I've ever played is just slow.
This is yours?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, this is the most responsive, just sensitive. I love it.
Cool.
I'm starting to tear up a little.
Oh, wow. Don't do that.
No, I'll try.
All right. We are in the drum room here at Spiral.
Yeah,
Most talk about what you're using for mics, I guess, and stuff.
most of the time this booth has a kit in it. Lately, we strip it down when we need to, but right now I've got a kit made by a friend of mine out of Vegas named Steve Flagg. He built this kit. We have 2 other drum kits that we keep in storage that we'll swap out if we need to, but this one gets recorded a lot. I was just doing a band session with it, so a lot of my favorite mics are not on the drum kit.
What kind of kit did you say it was?
Steve Flagg.
Steve Flagg.
Yeah, it's basically like DW shells.
Wow.
Done up custom.
And then Ryan was just showing me the snare.
The snare's a Yamaha Craigslist special that I also found. Some doctor here in town decided to just be a doctor and not a drummer, but
sounds cool.
Really killer 13-inch snare. And right now it's just mic'd up with 414s, a Rode Classic tube mic as kind of a room-ish mic.
Do you guys ever move it out to the big room?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. About half the time it's out there, but when I need to isolate it and put the band out there, I move them in here. And then, a package of Shure mics on toms and
nice.
Beta 52 and kick, and then
running like a sub kick mic too.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's Chinese. I don't know. Somebody gave me that mic. And it lives on kick drum.
Looks kind of cool. You don't know what it's called?
No, I really don't.
It's I don't see a name on it really.
It sounds good on kick drum.
Cool. Wow.
I haven't liked it on vocals, but
I know. And then all these really cool.
Yeah,
these are
They just kind of break up the room,
like kind of a diffuser more.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
And then this is some homemade stuff again.
Yeah, the foam, and then this is just again 2x2 and spray paint.
Yeah,
gets the job done. We have a handful more snare drums back there that we'll swap out as needed.
Cool.
And that's about it. This is a great room. It's a great room for vocals when there aren't drums in it.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Is this yours or is this
Steve's tube mic? I guess I haven't shown you that. I could just rattle off the mics more or less that we use.
I don't know if they can see that on the camera, so I'm just going to bring it down a little bit.
Sure.
So this is a Rode Classic.
Rode Classic.
Yeah.
I think it might even be 1. They made a second model of it later. Which is good. It's great sounding kind of vintagey tube mic. A little bit noisy, but
looks cool.
Rarely an issue.
Yeah. So I was just, as we were walking by, I was noticing this cigar box, like guitar type of thing.
I believe it's called a diddly bow.
Okay.
But people who are smart are gonna tell me that's not true. Made by a friend of mine out of Salt Lake.
Oh, another Utah
axe.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever use it?
Twice.
All right, so Ryan, we are in the vocal booth.
Yeah, this is our smallest booth. Sometimes it's got amps in it. I've got a curtain I can pull here across the glass, and that tightens it up, and we do a lot of vocals here. This is our blue bottle, which is, again, with different capsules you can put on it, a really great vocal mic. It's kind of been hanging up here since day one. We have a handful of other mics that would be great vocal mics.
Well, now, how long have you guys had this? Because it seems like I was down here and you guys were talking about buying this a few years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Okay. So you haven't had this forever. It's
No, not forever.
Fairly new.
Yeah, before that, different AKG, Shure mics. This thing is, honestly, since we put it up, I think only twice have I not found a capsule that doesn't work for a singer, and then we'll go through some other mics. But it's a great mic.
Awesome.
And again, I think it's the thing people should be really impressed by, and they're sometimes not. But nevertheless, killer mic.
So one really cool thing about Spiral is that the control room basically sees everywhere. When I talk, Steve designed it.
Steve designed it, and the line of sight is great. From the control room, you've got the big booth, the big room, and the small booth. And we've kind of put this stage in here. It's about an 8-inch lift, and we'll track a lot of things on the stage. And there's always a good line of sight between piano and booths. Bands really like it because they can come in and feel at home. Some studios are really sort of claustrophobic feeling and spiral. I mean, you might be able to tell even our live room's not that dark. It's
no, for not having any windows, it's
we do our best to keep it feeling natural here, and
it's great.
It's good room.
So I wanted to thank Ryan Tilby today for showing me around Spiral. I'm a fan of Ryan's. He's a everything player and just a musician's musician, which I think a lot of people respect that. And
thank you.
And anything else you want to tell us about the studio or your services? Or?
Just that I think what sets us apart is that we can help you get whatever you want. We have just enough gear, but not only that, but we're musicians. A lot of studios have engineers and musicians, but we try to do a really good job of that. We get a lot of singer-songwriters in who know what they want but don't know how to make it, and we can get them there without big expenses, without bringing in musicians.
Let me ask you that. How many albums do you think you've done where you've played like 90% of the instruments on?
Since I moved here?
Yeah, since you moved here.
I'd say I play most of what comes out of this studio.
Yeah, awesome. Like even drums and stuff?
Lately, yeah.
Really?
Which is more a testament to my engineering skills than it is my drumming. But yeah,
cut and paste.
Oh man, I can beat detective like nobody's business.
Cool.
But yeah, that's what I like about it. We're able to just create music from the ground up, and people without their own bands and without their own arrangers, they don't realize how easy and fun it can be to build music.
Yeah.
And we've got it pretty efficient here to be able to do that, and I like it.
Well, thanks, man.
Thank you, Rich.
I appreciate it. And if you are nerdy enough to like these kind of videos, or if you're a musician even, because eventually you're going to get into a studio and know some of these studios around Utah, please subscribe to the channel. There'll be more stuff coming your way, hopefully.
Every single day.
Every
single day.
There's a new video every day.
Every day.
But not. No. Anyway, Utah Music Producers, thank you. We'll see you. Bye.
See you.
Well, I know you can't imagine riding on alone, carrying on this ranch on your own. Now the winds of change are blowing, winter's setting in, and you look like you have lost your best friend. Feeling like the good times are all gone. Wonder if it's time for moving on.